Hey everybody, I'm Evan Hammonds for bloodhorse.com and welcome to After the Wire, which is brought to you by EquiAid, the makers of Bodybuilder, Air Blast, and other fine natural products. Well, it was Keeneland's turn at a Super Saturday program, but it was wet as Central Kentucky was hit by a deluge, and I mean a deluge of rain the afternoon of October 5th. Now it's 75 miles west, but Louisville had the third wettest day on record on Saturday, and by the time the major stakes were run at Keeneland, most of the fans had already headed for the turnstiles. We will mention defending Horse of the Year Wise Dan first, but we're not going to dwell on the fact that his 8-race win streak came to an end in the Shadwell Turf Mile that was neither a turf race nor a mile, since it was moved to a mile and 16th on the poly track. The Breeders' Cup implications you want to know? There are none, unless you believe it will rain at Santa Anita for the World Championships in early November. Wise Dan on dry turf, still be Wise Dan. Now we learned the most about 2-year-olds at Keeneland and Belmont, so let's go in chronological order, shall we? It was fast and dry for the Darley Alcibiades Stakes on Friday afternoon in Kentucky, and my Conquistador was the favorite, and for good reason. She had won the Grade 2 TVG Summer Stakes at Woodbine in her debut. Now, she didn't get a great break at Keeneland and was next to last as the field rounded the first bend. Tucked in along the rail, she was really hemmed in pretty good all the way down the backstretch. However, once she found a few inches, she got halfway past the field in just a few strides. Finding a small seam, turning for home, she turned it on and quickly made a mockery of the race. It was a special effort from an apparently a very special filly. It will be interesting to see which juvenile race she'll go in at the Breeders' Cup. Trainer Mark Cassey would prefer the juvenile turf off her form already on turf and poly, but he may opt for the juvenile fillies, which would put her in the mix for an Eclipse Award. I'd say she could land that championship with a repeat performance in either race. My Conquistador is daughter of Artie Schiller from the same crop as Wee Miss Artie, who was a commanding winner the following day in the Dixie Anna Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland for Ken and Sarah Ramsey. Now, Wee Miss Artie broke his maiden on the turf and was a tough luck 6th in the Grade 2 with Anticipation Stakes at Saratoga while being floated wide on both terms. Like my Conquistador, there's very little dirt form to go on, and what will come to light at the Breeders' Cup is anybody's guess. At Belmont Park, a pair of runner-up efforts drew a lot of attention. In the Frizette, for 2-year-old fillies, the heavy choice Sweet Reason broke inward from post 1 and was pretty much left for dead at the break. Now, she did make up some ground and made nice headway to the turn, but then she was 3 wide around Big Sandy's sweeping turns, and despite a valiant effort, was unable to run down Artemis Agroterra. But that's not that the winner was any slouch. She had broken her maiden at Saratoga by 11 3/4 lengths, and she covered the 1-turn mile of the Frizette in 136.25 under Jose Lescano. Trainer Mike Hushin has a good one here, and they'll head to Breeders' Cup the Monday or Tuesday before. In the Champagne, most eyes were on Honor Code, who had turned heads breaking his maiden at Saratoga while coming from the clouds. Now, far back early again in the Champagne, he was insanely wide on the turn, but he was able to close relentlessly for second, missing by just a neck to the front-running Havana. Now, trainer Shug McGahee said the day after the Champagne that Honor Code is unlikely for the trip to Southern California for the Breeders' Cup. And I have a note for jockey Irad Ortiz Jr. Next time you're on Havana, which probably will be in the Breeders' Cup race, put away the stick. The colt propped several times when hit with the whip down the stretch. I think the colt was trying to tell Mr. Ortiz he was already going about as fast as he could. Now, 2 notes about Havana. He hails from the first crop of Dunkirk, and the Grey Roan was bred by Harvey Clark, the breeder of last year's champion 3-year-old I'll Have Another. And we'll have another edition of After the Wire next week. I'd like to thank everybody for watching.